Hello everyone, my name is Chance Brunton and welcome back to Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward. I'm joined once again by Tyler.
Hello.
We are now finished with the laboratory and have found some Accelavir, so we're going to go back and meet up with everybody else and see what goes wrong as we try and deliver it to Quark. The lock for the door. Right now it says lock. 3, 2, 1. Goodbye, Lord Huppington. You helped us well.
Your sacrifice will be remembered.
Hey, hold on a minute. There's something... I guess there's a couple of things I want to double check. Well, one of them's not really significant, I guess.
Huh?
First off, this machine. We didn't even end up using this thing, did we?
Yeah.
I was just wondering what it was.
Well, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to answer that. Look at the side here. There's a name or something. IG Replicator?
Replicator makes it sound like it makes copies of stuff.
So it's like a copy machine.
Yeah. Probably copies IG, whatever that is.
Any ideas? Oh, can this be used to make a second dose of Accelavir?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Because if that's the case, that would explain how in the other route, we could be like, wait a minute, there is a way to save everybody, because there's a machine we know about no one else does.
But
that
do you know
replicates
what
it.
IG means?
Immunoglobulin, which is the immune cell, which is what they said Accelavir was based on.
Yeah, that is what you got from the botanical garden, which is why you wouldn't know in this route.
Ice cream by the gallon?
Of course. This machine must be here so we could just make all the ice cream we want. Are you nuts? You're one idiotic girl, you know that?
Well, we have seen
In
a
other
lot of
words-
nuts in here.
True. In other words, an IG.
Oh, good one.
Hey, this isn't the time for stupid jokes. There's a helpless child back there in the infirmary who needs our help.
It is weird that Dio cares about that. He was right, of course. I hung my head in shame.
At any rate, as long as we don't know what IG means, we can't do anything with this machine, right?
That's right.
Makes sense.
You could
On
test
to
it
the
out.
second issue.
Just put the Accelavir in it that we desperately need and hope it doesn't waste it.
You wouldn't test it with Accelavir probably, but you could still test it just for other things.
But do we have anything else it might work on?
I guess not. It does seem to
You found
have
a journal
something
and some
in
sort
there
of vial
already,
in
though.
a safe, right?
Sorry, what was that?
It does seem to have something in there already, though.
I think that was an empty vial for it to, go to, like a destination vial.
Probably, actually. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The vial. Could you show it to me again?
Why?
I didn't really get a good look at it before. You guys were in there so close I could barely see it. Was it really Accelavir?
Yeah, definitely. As I spoke, I pulled the vial out of my pocket. See, it's written right there on the label. Accelavir.
You really are an idiot.
Huh?
Although I guess in this case the G in IG stands for guy.
What? I don't... The words were barely out of my mouth when he moved. Yeah, I was afraid of this. Before I could blink, the vial disappeared from my hand. Hey, what gives?
What are you doing?
Oh, hang on, my camera froze again.
Dio seems upset about it, too.
Dio slipped the vial quickly into his coat.
Oh, don't worry. I'll keep it safe. I'll even give it back to you later.
No, not later. Give it back now.
I don't think so. If you want it back, you're gonna have to listen to my request.
Request?
Yeah, that's what I said. If you want this back, in the next AB game,
And my camera just died again.
No.
What the hell?
you have to choose ally.
Ally? Wait, is that why you took the medicine? To blackmail me?
That's horrible! You're using Quark's life as leverage!
Well, I've got some really good reasons to do so. I'll be happy to give it back if you just do what I say.
I didn't realize until they started to hurt that I'd curled my hands into fists. If Dio would only give me an opening.
I wouldn't try and take it back by force if I were you. You make any sudden moves and I'll smash it.
He patted his pocket gently.
Oh, and one more thing. Don't tell those other idiots that you found some Excelavir in here. I hear one word about it, and the next thing you hear will be little bits of glass shattering on the floor.
Damn it!
That's not fair.
This game isn't about compassion, and it's not about being clever. It's about one thing. How well you can manipulate people to your advantage.
Is that
How
being
unfair you can be.
Is that not being clever?
I know, right? I guess he's not clever enough to realize that.
So, what are you gonna do? Ready to promise me you'll pick ally?
What are our points at, though?
It's at 1.
Our points are at 1?
Yeah, and Dio's is at 6.
Right.
I think
so. We'll be committing suicide.
Yeah. Unless you trust him enough to not freaking leave.
No, we'd be killed by injection, right?
Yeah, unless he allies though. But
unless he allies, but I think it's pretty clear he's not intending to do that.
Yeah.
Fine. I promise.
Sigma!
I knew you'd say it eventually. I'm glad you understand how this works. But don't think about trying anything funny. Break your promise and, well, you know what happens.
Gosh dang it, Dio.
See you chumps later.
Since I
looking
skipped the
forward to
Dio
the next
route, I
one.
actually sort of trusted him weirdly. Even though how dumb of a mistake that is.
Uh-huh. With one last self-satisfied chuckle, Dio strutted out of the room.
Are you really going to do what he says?
Yeah.
Sigma, you've only got one BP right now. If we choose ally and he chooses betray...
I know. I'll drop to -1, and that means I'll get penalized.
But that means...
Look, it's not like I want to, alright? If we don't do as he says, then he'll destroy the medicine. If he does that, then Quark will...
So you're going to die to save his life? That's... Why would you do that?
In all honesty, I was terrified. My choice was far from a foregone conclusion. Well, we should get back to the upper floor. Everybody else is probably finished already. I bet they're waiting for us. I didn't wait for Clover's response.
Even though the first ending I saw was literally Dio mentioning that he killed the old lady, I still thought, he sort of had to do that to get into the games, and he might just be trying to secure his way out, which he is doing, but more violently than I thought he would.
Yeah.
And for more, malicious reasons. At this point,
I wonder if he has any intention of returning the Excelavir. Probably not.
with the Alice route, I didn't do that one, so I didn't know about the bombs, so Alice was...
Wait, you saw the route where he admitted it, but you didn't realize there were bombs?
He admitted killing the old lady, and that was all he admit. That was on the lunar route, where there was no bombs to be found.
No, but then that's the route where Phi, beats the code out of him, right? The bomb defusal code.
That one's the Dio end. The other one was the one where we ended up having that spiel through K.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I only knew that he killed someone, so I was like, well, surely he, had his reasons to do that. Just to get into the game to do whatever his mission is, which I thought would be a more, positive mission for everyone.
Right.
45 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
Sorry, I went ahead and cracked it open a bit early.
Dio. In one of his hands was a moon key. He twirled it around like a veteran gambler, grinned, and slid it back into his pocket.
You don't mind, right? I figured you and Clover would get up here right away. Besides, I thought it'd be best to get this done soon before you lose your nerve. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to the next round.
Ugh. I glanced around the warehouse. Alice and Kay were back. As was Phi. And, of course, Clover. Where are Temioji and the rest of them?
They're in the infirmary.
We carried Quark to one of the beds. Tenmyoji and Luna are looking after him.
I see.
How's he doing?
Well, it's hard to say. He seems to be sleeping soundly, but beyond that, there's really no way to know.
No change then, huh?
Right.
So what was your room, Sigma?
A laboratory.
Is that so?
Did it look like the kind of place where they'd be researching viruses and DNA and those kinds of things?
Yeah, it did.
Was there any of that Excelivir?
Good
Don't
question.
tell those other idiots that you found some Excelivir in here. I hear one word about it, and the next thing you hear will be little bits of glass shattering on the floor.
My eyes flicked to Dio for a moment. No, nothing. Beside me, Clover bit her lip.
I see.
Come on, Phi, pick up on it. So how'd it go with you? Find anything interesting? Phi only shook her head. With a unison of movement that almost looked choreographed, Alice and Kay shrugged.
If only that was a choreographed tackle.
Yeah.
Where does that leave us?
Yeah, you know, we've done so much jumping and remembering stuff. I kind of wish the others would suddenly be like, wait a minute, we just had a premonition.
Yeah.
Dio's gonna smash the vial and tackle him.
We've still got about 40 minutes left until voting ends.
What are you gonna do?
I'm a little curious about that lab you found. I thought I might go take a peek at it.
I'll show you the way then.
That would be wonderful.
I think I'll go have a look at the room Alice, Kay, and Temioji found. Never know. Maybe you missed something. Perhaps there's some Excelivir hidden somewhere in there.
Ugh. What a bastard.
Then I shall take you there.
What about you two? Where are you going?
Well, I think I'll start by heading over to the infirmary to see how Quark's doing.
Then I will too.
Glad that's settled.
She nodded to Clover, and they disappeared through the magenta door. Dio and Kay followed after a few footsteps behind. Yeah, we really need at least, like, Phi to pick up on it. Okay, then. Guess we should be going, too.
Hold on. Show me that journal first. Dio told me about it. He wouldn't tell me anything about the lab, except that you found a journal with, his words, some sort of bullshit language. He said you had it, so I was hoping I could take a look.
Yeah. One sec. I dug the journal out of my pocket and handed it to Phi. How big a pocket does he have?
His pocket's just like, his entire pants or something.
Yeah. She began to flip through the pages, her eyes quickly scanning each one.
I guess
This is Latin.
a journal could be small.
It could be, yeah. Like more of a pocket book.
Yeah, there's no reference size.
Latin? You mean you can read it?
Yeah, with time and a dictionary.
So, in other words, no.
Pardon me for not being able to translate a dead language on the fly. This looks like some kind of research log. It's not going to be some sort of, I took the dog for a walk today. It was nice kind of stuff. I can understand a little of it, mostly conjunctions and things like that. But most of these words I've never even seen before.
Phi started to leaf through the book again as she spoke. Then suddenly, she stopped.
Wait. I can read this one. Page 216. This isn't research notes. It looks like a personal entry.
What's it say?
Don't rush me. This is gonna take a minute.
It's a long minute.
Interesting. All right, I think I got it.
I mean, for
It
us it
looks
was
like they're
just a few
talking about
seconds.
Radical 6.
What?
For us it was just a few seconds, so it wasn't long for us.
Mm-hmm. What? Why are they talking about that?
Not sure. Let me read it to you. Keep in mind I'm paraphrasing.
When the body is infected with Radical 6, the processing speed of the brain is reduced. If we assume the brain currently operates on a 1-to-1 basis with regards to time, Radical 6 reduces this to 1 over square root of 1/6, or approximately 1 over 0.408. This means that for each second that passes outside, the patient feels that only 0.408 seconds have passed inside.
Did you know radical is also the square root?
Oh, right. Now I understand. That makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why I asked a while ago.
That's where it comes from, Radical 6.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Also, this is very, advanced for Phi to be able to read this in Latin.
Yeah.
Like
numbers, I guess, are easy enough with Latin, because numbers are pretty easy to know.
Yeah, but it's going to be difficult when they start talking about the ratios and everything, and, approximate amounts and stuff. This gets complicated fast. And things about, the processing speed of the brain is reduced, that's going to be complicated to translate most likely. Anyway, in other words, when 10 seconds pass in the real world, a patient infected with Radical 6 would feel as if only 4 seconds had passed. This is why the virus has been termed Radical 6. Radical is another term for what is also known as the root operation, the function inverse to the taking of a power. In a less mathematical sense, it can also be used to refer to something that is extreme or severe. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide.
Which is very extreme.
Yeah. The exact cause of this is unclear, and although there is, as of yet, no direct link between suicidal urges and the reduction in mental processing speed, many believe that they are not unrelated. Those infected with Radical 6 perceive the world to be moving at a fever pitch, as if it were a video cassette being fast-forwarded. For instance, although the patient believes that only 10 seconds have passed, in fact, 24.5 seconds have passed. Given this increased speed of input, maintaining the ability to observe and reason would become a Herculean task. One theory holds that the disparity in time perception causes the brain to be flooded with massive amounts of information. Unable to keep it up, it begins to fail. Whatever the cause, the infected invariably attempt to take their own lives, which is arguably the most terrifying aspect of this virus.
Only arguably.
Yeah. Research suggests that a targeted antiviral could kill or at least disable Radical 6, but we have been unable to develop one. It seems our best hope now is to harvest antibodies from someone with a natural immunity to the virus. Thus far, however, we have been unable to locate a suitable subject, so I've continued my efforts to discover an alternative means of treatment. So, is the whole point of us being here to retroactively create a person who is immune to Radical 6? By, discovering somebody's immunity and then having it be backed into the history the same way that they're going with the dice rolls, where once you discover that the die is a 6, it retroactively was a 6 the whole time?
Well, if we use, the Accelavir, then that wouldn't really be retroactive anymore, would it?
No, but maybe in a different route we make the Accelavir or something.
No, maybe.
Or, we find, maybe, the Accelavir only exists in this route because in a different route, we end up doing something that caused the Accelavir to be created in the first place.
But then, how would it exist in this route, really?
See, the thing is that their sci-fi doesn't work, I feel like. A lot of the, where they rely on the quantum mechanics doesn't make sense for that very reason. And so, I'm kind of trying to work around that and come up with an explanation that works according to their rules.
I don't see how it works according to these rules, but I don't know. Maybe it's just...
I don't know either. I'm struggling a little bit on it.
Yeah.
Given my current rate of progress, I predict that I will have a workable treatment within a decade or two. It is my fervent hope that humanity will be able to survive that long. The bodies of those dead from suicide are piled up along the roads leading into and out of town. The entire area reeks with the stench of decay, and the sky is filled with the constant buzzing of flies. At times, their swarms are so thick that when one passes, it feels as if a cloud has gone over the sun. Every day I see more crows and rats are everywhere, feeding on the dead. Ironically, the only healthy-looking creatures are the stray cats, who have grown fat on a plentiful rodent diet. The few humans who survived the outbreak have been locked away by the government in underground shelters.
It's a good thing Sigma's not reading this, because otherwise there'd be a lot of cat puns at this point.
Yeah. I don't know how many were saved, but I fear only a handful. Their survival is the only hope that remains for the human race. Oh Lord, please, let their future be a bright one. Whoa, that's a lot of information. Now we know what the virus does to you, though. If you get infected, your brain slows down by the root of 1/6. That's, what, about 40%?
That isn't the important part. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide.
Yeah, you're right. That would explain why Quark was, well, trying to kill himself.
There are two other things in here that worry me. First, the part about how they haven't managed to develop a treatment for it yet. What do you make of that?
What am I supposed to make of it? Maybe they just hadn't found one when this journal was written. I mean, from what we know, there's a drug called Excelavir that cures it.
Exactly. But in the journal it says it might take 20 years to make something like that.
Hold on a second. I'm getting confused. Well, I mean, it could have been that he was just overly pessimistic and somebody else had a breakthrough.
Yeah, in 6 days.
He said he was going to take 20 years.
6 days seems like pretty fast, though.
6 days? But I didn't see a date mentioned. I don't remember a date mentioned.
That's assuming we were abducted on the 25th and we thought it was the lunar whatever. Lunar
Yeah,
eclipse.
but we don't know when this journal was written.
Yeah, but
so it might have been written a long time ago.
But we also don't know anything about Radical 6 in the real world, so...
That is true. When was this thing even written?
December 29th. No year.
Well, there's no way it was written this year.
Yeah, probably not. Anyway, moving on. The second concern I have is about the underground shelters it mentions. The newspaper article said something about quarantining people too. After we read it, we all thought the same thing. What if this was one of those quarantine facilities? But this journal seems to suggest the opposite. The few humans who survived the outbreak have been locked away by the government in underground shelters.
You're trying to say that this place might be one of those underground shelters. Which would mean we're all supposed to be uninfected. We would have been thrown in here to keep us safe.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to say for sure at this point, but it seems possible.
Looks like it didn't work, though.
Is Dio the one who let the virus in? Because he wasn't supposed to be here?
He is part of Free the Soul, and we think that it's connected.
Yeah, I feel like Free the Soul engineered this virus as a bioweapon. And so maybe they're trying to send operatives to infiltrate all of the shelters in order to kill off the survivors. And so maybe that's what got it in here. But Quark's been infected, right?
Then maybe the virus got in somehow.
That would be bad.
Just think about it for a minute. If this is one of those shelters, a lot of things start to make sense. Maybe we've been here for a long time. Like, maybe they put us to sleep somehow. Made us sleep for years, maybe even decades. While we were sleeping, the pandemic that the newspaper article talked about happened. And whoever had this journal made this entry.
And then, once the antiviral treatment was finished, they woke us up.
Right. It's all just speculation, but...
No, that doesn't make sense. I mean, it seems like a pretty plausible scenario, but... we were all captured before the pandemic started, right?
Yeah.
And how would they have put us to sleep for that long? How would they have known to do that? But most importantly, why the hell are we playing the nonary game if the point of this place is to save us? Throwing a bunch of people into a game that might kill them is a pretty weird way to protect them from a pandemic.
Yeah, you're right.
See?
We don't have enough information to make any real conclusions. I think we should see if we can find anything else.
Fi had barely finished speaking before she took off for the magenta door. Hey, weren't you coming to the infirmary with me?
Changed my mind. You can tell me about Quark later.
And with that, she left, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
She was gone. Man. I let out a long, tired sigh and started off toward the infirmary. How's he doing?
He seems to be stable, as far as I can tell.
Still sleeping.
I see. Mind if I have a look?
Please, go ahead.
I made my way around the partition to the side of Quark's bed. The journal and the thing Fi and I had talked about would definitely need to be addressed, but for the moment, the AB game was what I needed to concentrate on. Lives were at stake. Mine. And Quark's. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide. If the journal was telling the truth, then as soon as the anesthetic wore off, Quark would go insane again. What if we weren't able to restrain him a second time? What if he managed to kill himself before we got to him? That's what restraints are for. Or perhaps he'd just get out of the infirmary and go hide somewhere. On the other hand, it wasn't like we could keep anesthetizing him forever. There was only one way to save Quark, and that was with Excelavir. Unfortunately, Dio had stolen it. If he wanted to get it back, or if we wanted to get it back, Clover and I would have to vote ally. But if I did, there was an excellent chance I would end up dead. The question was, then, what to do? Sacrifice myself to save Quark? Or keep quiet about the danger he was in to save myself? I wonder if this is going to be a lock where we wonder, like, how can we survive? Like, when we're about to get injected or something, we're going to be, saying, there's got to be a way to live. There's got to be a way to live. And then it's going to say there's a lock. And then it's going to turn out that the lock was for us to figure out that our arm is artificial. And so then when we come back to it, we chop our arm off before we get injected.
That could be it. You do think it's like the artificial arm is Sigma's, right?
We know, we've seen in other routes, Sigma has lost his arm and it's been like white goo.
Yeah, but that could also be like, if we think it's the ABT, artificial tissue stuff, Sigma might be a robot then.
That is true. Either way, his arm can come off.
I guess, yeah.
So, I guess if he's a robot, maybe the injection wouldn't kill him, so maybe he wouldn't need to lop his arm off. But if we don't know for sure, we could just play it safe and cut his arm off, and that way, whether it's a prosthetic arm or he's a robot, either way, the injection's not going to be killing him once it's off. It was so faint, I almost didn't hear it.
Grandpa. Grandpa.
He shifted a little, then fell silent again. It was enough, though. What on earth had I been thinking?
Grandpa? Or...
Yeah. That's it. My life over yours.
Yeah.
How could I even have considered letting a child die in my place? Suddenly, my cheeks felt hot with embarrassment and disgust. That I had considered letting Quark die even for a minute was pathetic. There was only one choice. There had only ever been one choice. No way was I going to leave Quark to die. My hands tightened into fists as I looked down at him. Any uncertainty I'd felt before was gone. I knew what I had to do.
You can still pick betray if you want.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh, I know what I've got to do. That's for sure. But I don't think it's what Sigma wants to do.
All players, please enter your votes. If no vote is recorded.
Looks like it's almost time. You two should head back.
What about you?
Not going. I'm worried about Quark.
But you're a solo. If you don't vote...
I'll automatically ally. I know. I heard the voice on the intercom just like you.
What are you going to do if Kay and Alice vote betray?
Nothing, I suppose. Just means I lost that round. I'd just be voting ally anyway. You know who my opponents are, right? Alice only has one BP left. If I pick betray and they chose ally, I'd kill her. I'm not so desperate to escape that I'm gonna kill someone for it. And even if I was, I can't leave Quark behind. You see? Doesn't matter if I go into the AB room or not. My vote's the same either way.
Temioji's mind was made up. Trying to persuade him to leave would have been pointless. All right. Take care of Quark.
Of course. You worry about yourself.
Yeah, funny you should say that. Let's go.
Okay.
Luna and I headed out of the infirmary, leaving Temioji and Quark behind.
Yeah, I just remembered we didn't really look through the golden file last time, did we?
Oh, you know what? We didn't. I think you're right.
Not that you have to, but we've been doing that
let's
a
go ahead
lot.
and take a look just to see if there's anything useful. Oh, we can learn about how floor A is above and floor B is below. Wait. There's a rumor that the floors were actually named after a particular Swedish pop rock group from the 70s, but everyone involved in this project has insisted that is a vile and hurtful lie.
I think that means ABBA.
Ah, I see. Researcher's Journal. We already read through this.
Yeah.
Due to space constraints, some sections have been cut out. Jumpy Doll. It sounds like someone named a doll Jumpy, but why? So, that... Where's this Jumpy Doll? Because that's important.
Yeah.
Because the... Jumpy was the protagonist from the first game, Junpei.
Mm-hmm.
And Jumpy is Akane's nickname for him.
Yeah.
So if there's a Jumpy Doll, that implies Akane has something to do with it.
Any idea what Akane's role could be in this?
Well, actually, I think now that I think about it, there was something in Zero Escape 3 about that. I think, but I'm not so sure anymore, because the thing is, Akane was. This is a spoiler alert. But from the first game, Akane was Zero, actually.
Yeah.
Or, working with Santa was Zero.
Which, yeah, that might be the spoiler you're talking about, maybe.
That might be, yeah. And so that's the thing, is, I remember something about that, but I don't remember enough details. So if they had said something like, if they had let slip that she was somehow related to being Zero in the second game, I might be, getting that confused with the first game and not remembering that that's a spoiler.
They didn't let slip that she was Zero in the second game or anything like that about her role in this game.
Okay, because she might be involved in this. She might be related, it might be a little more complicated than saying she's Zero, but like she could have made the AI or something, or I don't know. But I think it's possible she might have a connection, especially now that I see this. It sounds like somebody named a doll Jumpy.
Yeah.
But I don't know where this is. I wonder if we'll find a Jumpy doll at some point, because some of these entries refer to things in the facility that we may not necessarily have found yet when we pick up the note.
Yeah.
The secret of Quark's hat. Don't you think his hat looks kind of weird? There's that huge band that just wraps around his head. Is he hiding a pair of Ferengi ears? Or maybe he's just a young Lobo. Well, this is just between you and me, but he's got missiles in there. The sides of his hat are hiding those pods, like you see on helicopters or SAM sites. Except these missiles are tiny, and when he gets in trouble, both sides of the hat open up and they just fly out all at once, like pshh.
He's actually a little Dio. He's the next generation.
Oh god. A 5th generation Myrmidon. Just the tiny kind, the mini generation.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Actually, he just keeps snacks in there. Excelavir. An antiviral medication made to counteract Radical 6. More specifically, it's an antibody with a natural resistance to the virus. It was found and extracted from an individual in 2038, and then replicated using the IG replicator. Yes. An Accelavir injection is the only known way to fight off a Radical 6 injection. So this pretty much confirms that we can use the replicator to make a second dose.
Yeah.
Also, 2038, I believe they said it's 2028, according to Sigma's recollection.
Yeah.
So the Accelavir was, according to this, developed 10 years after the last thing that Sigma and pretty much everybody else remembers.
Yeah, but Clover still looks basically the same age. Like, she didn't age 10 years, at least.
Yeah, so there might be some weird, like, timeline issues with, like, the quantum stuff. Or, I mean, if they were in, like, a cryogenic sleep, they wouldn't be aging, right?
Yeah.
Maybe? I'm not actually sure how that would work, but I suppose not.
Yeah, there was that cold sleep function on the 3 treatment center things, but then, like, are there 3 people who might have been cold sleeped?
Maybe. Or maybe there's more cold sleep pods somewhere else?
Well, like, it seems like whenever we see anything important, it's always intentionally, like, basically everything that's important, so...
We already know people were taken at different times, but are we indicating that maybe some people were taken 10 years after others?
Yeah, or maybe even later, because it doesn't need to have been 2038 that we were taken, or, like, that started.
Although you'd think that this sort of stuff would die down quickly once a cure was developed.
Yeah. If most people suicide, though, it could still be very impactful in those 10 years.
Alright, when we got to the warehouse, we found everyone else waiting for us.
If Clover was one of those people, like, put to sleep, though, then Alice probably would have been another one, and that doesn't leave many options.
But Alice might not need to have been, because might be Ice 9.
Oh yeah, maybe.
And we're a robot, or if we're a robot, we could have been programmed with false memories.
Yeah.
So we could be programmed with false memories. Alice didn't need one because she's got Ice 9. And then Clover would have been in the sleeping pod along with 2 others.
Yeah.
Dio and Kay are both from the current time.
Yeah. Pi sounds like she's from the old time, maybe.
Possibly. It's hard to say with Temioji and Quark. Yeah, because you remember when Temioji laughed when we said, like, so Quark should be in elementary school, right? And then Temioji laughed and thought, yeah, boy his age ought to be, or whatever. So maybe they are from post-time, and so what Temioji knows is he's already known about Radical 6, and there isn't a school because they've been in quarantine. And maybe the deal that he made with Zero was to get Quark into a quarantine zone for safety. So they wouldn't have needed pods then if they're contemporary.
Yeah, this isn't really for safety though. It's nonary games.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how this all played out. But so that's 4 people who are contemporary. Dio, Kay, Quark, Temioji.
Yeah.
And then
the robot would be a 5th.
Yeah, which so far the evidence would seem to indicate that's probably us. And if Alice truly does have Ice 9, and so she honestly doesn't need it, that leaves only 3 people who would actually need cryopods, which would be Clover, Luna, and who am I blanking on? Phi, yes. Yeah. So that would mean Clover, Luna, and Phi were in the pods, right?
Yeah.
That would make sense and explain everybody.
That does assume Alice actually is Ice 9, though, like, which she claims to have a father and stuff, which would be sort of hard to have as a pharaoh or mummy, whatever.
True. Yeah. There might be some other notes, too, because, like, I'm concerned about saying things, because then that implies that I'll accept Phi, so I'm wondering about Luna. Like, there might be more going on to Luna than we realize. Yeah. And so maybe she wasn't necessarily a pod person. So maybe it was Luna or maybe Alice instead of Luna. And Luna is actually a 5th contemporary person.
Luna does seem to have very little going on with her besides being a doctor and being nice, so.
Which makes her very suspicious. Well, not quite everyone. One other person was missing. Hey, where's Dio?
Take a look at the doors.
They're all closed. When we came in here before, the one on the far right was open.
And that would mean...
That he went in, I guess.
Exactly.
That bastard. He'd probably been worried I might try and take the Accelavir from him by force, so he'd hidden himself in the AB room. What a coward. I'd made up my mind to choose Ally, no matter what, but... part of me had still considered trying to jump Dio if he dropped his guard. Now he'd made sure I wouldn't get the chance to try.
Where's Tenmyoji?
Oh,
Luna explained Tenmyoji's choice.
I see. Well, I guess that means I don't have to worry about him picking Betray.
right. What will you guys be choosing then?
Ally, of course.
Because my BP is 6, I assume.
Yes. As long as Tenmyoji votes Ally, I can't choose Betray. If I do, K's BP will go up to 9.
But what if he forces you?
Ha ha ha. You needn't worry. I would never do something so crass.
That felt like a very forced laugh.
It was, yeah.
Really?
Of course.
Then you don't need to go in there.
Excuse me?
Alice can vote by herself. Then we don't have anything to worry about, right?
Well,
I mean, yeah.
I apologize, but I'm afraid I can't agree to that.
Why not?
I just can't. Shall we go, Alice?
Hey, hold on a minute there.
Kay continued briskly toward the AB room as if he simply hadn't heard Phi. Alice scrambled to follow him, perhaps concerned that he would lock her out. We could just go tackle him right now.
Well, he is, like, probably a very strong person in a suit of armor.
True, but, you know, at this point, does it really matter? Because we're already we're pretty sure that in 10 minutes time, or, you know, whatever it takes to vote, 30 minutes, we're going to be dead anyway. So what does it really matter what he does to us? We're about to die. We've got literally nothing to lose. And even if he kills us first, we're going to ally by default.
I guess my point is more that, like, we would fail anyways, but, yeah.
Oh, well, except that, like, if we tackle him, even if it, like, isn't enough on its own, presumably Phi and Alice and everyone else can jump on him as well.
Yeah.
So we're not just one-on-oneing him. We're just taking the first shot at throwing our body weight into him.
Yeah.
And getting him off balance.
If we start running at him, though, he'd also probably just start running and close the door quickly.
Maybe, but he might be surprised and we could take advantage. I
Yeah,
mean,
I guess.
it's just that there's no harm in trying, because if you don't do anything, you're just as screwed.
Yeah.
Only seconds later, they disappeared into the third room from the left.
I hope Alice is going to be okay.
Also, we should have told everybody that Dio has Quark's Accelavir, so that Dio can't do anything funny with it afterwards.
I guess that does
Well,
run the
there's
risk
nothing
of,
we can do
like,
now.
What?
That does run the risk of, though, like, if you don't have a full plan, Dio will just break it before you get to it.
Well, the thing is, Dio, according to his agreement, should be giving us the Accelavir when he gets out anyway. Because
After
we're going to
see
vote.
the results, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the play there would be to tell everybody he has it, but not to do anything. And then see what happens as the results are displayed. And then if Dio, you know, pretends he doesn't have it or something, everybody knows. Or, you know, if Dio neglects to mention it, they can bring it up.
I guess, yeah.
Or ambush him for it because he might not be aware that they know.
If Kay told the truth, she'll be fine.
There's a lot more ambushing in your mind than in the
5
game's mind.
minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
What was that?
There's a lot more ambushing in your mind than in the game dev's mind, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you know, sometimes violence is the answer. And Dio is one of those times.
Yeah.
Time's
And
almost
Kay.
up.
Basically that whole clone batch.
Come on, Luna.
Right.
They headed off at a trot toward the second room from the right, and were soon out of sight inside it. All right, Clover, time for us to go.
Oh, okay. Right behind you.
I sighed to myself and headed toward the leftmost AB room. We should have Clover be outside and say, Clover, go, while we're doing this, go find an axe and bring it back so you can cut our arm off.
What are you gonna do?
I don't really have a choice, do I? There's only one thing I can do. I'm going to choose Ally.
You can't! You'll die!
Well, you never know. Just because Dio told us to ally doesn't necessarily mean he's going to pick Betray.
Do you really think a jerk like that is going to choose Ally if he doesn't have to? No. No way! He's got 6 BP right now. If he picks Betray, then he'll have 9 points!
Well, what about you?
Huh?
You've got 6 BP too, right? If Dio chose Ally and we chose Betray, then you'd have 9 BP.
What? No, that's not... I didn't even realize that until you brought it up. I'm just trying to tell you that Dio is going to pick Betray. That's who he is.
And I'm trying to tell you that I've made up my mind. That's who I am. The only choice is Ally.
Betray.
Yeah.
We can still pick it, so...
We can. It's the only chance we have to get that medicine back.
That's why Dio called you an IG. What makes you think he's going to give us the Accelavir, even if you do what he says?
That's why we should have told everybody else so we could orchestrate an ambush. Maybe he won't, but I can guarantee that he'll destroy it if I pick Betray. That's who he is.
A lot of people being who they are.
If you aren't gonna listen to me, then I guess I don't have a choice. I'll be pushing that button.
Huh? Before I realized what was going on, Clover ducked past me and ran toward the voting machine. No! Stop! I snatched her by the arm and hauled her backward with all my strength.
Ow!
Sorry. Guess that was a little too hard, huh?
Hey! What do you think you're doing? You can't just throw a girl around like that.
Well, you're the one who tried to trick me.
But you're gonna die! Dio's going to kill you! You can't do this! I don't want you to die.
Well, that makes 2 of us.
10 seconds remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
Thanks. It means a lot to hear you say that, Clover. I gave her my best reassuring nod and turned to face the polling machine.
After all that
3,
commotion of not picking
2,
Betray, let's pick
1.
Betray.
Yeah. So in the next episode, we are gonna ally to save Quark. Yeah, that's right. That's what we're gonna do next time. In the meanwhile, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you all then. Bye.
Bye.